We are working on GMetrix Photoshop CC 18, Test 2. Task 1 says we are editing some photos for a client's magazine, and it's important for us to understand which types of editing is considered destructive and which ones are considered non-destructive. It gives us some examples and it wants us to match them. Using adjustment layers is going to be non-destructive editing. Making adjustments using the adjustments menu, that's going to be destructive editing. Using the clone stamp tool, that's destructive. Using masks, that's non-destructive, it can be undone. And then transforming a smart object can be undone, so we'll go ahead and select non-destructive editing. It's important for the certification test that you understand the difference between the two. We'll click next. Task 2 asks us which path will we use to add new colors to an existing swatch library. On the certification exam, you're not going to have Photoshop open, so you won't be able to test these, you'll just need to know. For this, what we want to select is window swatches. We'll click next. Task 3 asks us which feature of the history panel allows you to quickly compare and revert to an earlier image state. The answer here would be snapshot. We'll click next. Task 4 tells us that we're working with a client's photographs, and we don't want to make any editing changes that would be permanent. The question asks us, what type of editing would I use if you wanted to preserve the original image data? For this, what we want to select is non-destructive editing. We'll go ahead and click next. Task 5 asks us which of the 3 following scenarios are valid uses of the lasso tool. It tells us to choose 3. The first scenario is to group objects from separate layers together. You wouldn't use it for that, so it's not that one. To remove a selected area from an image, you would use the lasso tool for that. To make a selection and use content aware fill, you would use it for that. And then to make a non-geometric selection, you would also use it for that. So those are our 3 selections. We'll go ahead and click next. Task 6 says, when applying a filter to a text layer, how can you ensure that a type's editability is not lost? Let's go and look at our options. Enable the type's editable permanence option. It's not that one. Ensure that a document is saved as a PSD file or a Photoshop file. It's not that selection either. Convert the type layer into a smart object. Yeah, that sounds right. And then rasterize the type layer after applying the filter. Rasterizing it would make it to where it can't be changed, so it's not that one. We'll go ahead and select convert the type layer into a smart object, and we'll click next. Task 7 says, the client is not too happy with the character tracking for the font that you were using. Which of the following correctly describes character tracking? Changes the vertical scale of a block of text? It's not that option. Changes in the spacing between all characters in a block of text? It's that one. Which means the other 2 are not correct. The changing of the horizontal scale and changing the spacing between 2 letters of text. We'll go ahead and click next. Task 8 says that we are editing a photo and one of the trees in the landscape would balance the composition better if it was farther to the right side of the frame. It asks us which of the following features would be the most effective to move the tree to the right side of the image. Let's look at our options. Spot healing brush is not correct. You'd use that for correcting like a pimple on a face or something similar. The magic wand would select colors that are similar, so it wouldn't be that. It's not the clone stamp tool. What we want to select here is content aware move. And we'll go ahead and click next. Task 9 says, from the following options, which 2 are a benefit of using a link smart object in Photoshop? It tells us that we need to go ahead and select 2. The smart object is automatically updated if the source file is changed. That would be one of the selections. The ability to perform non-destructive transforms without losing the original image quality. That is also a benefit of using a linked smart object. So we know that the ability to use tools for painting, dodging, burning, and cloning, and the ability to merge layers with a smart object are not the options that we want to select. We'll go ahead and click next. Task 10 says, which of the following options is an added benefit of using a linked smart object over just using a smart object in Photoshop? And so what we're looking for is the difference between the 2. And the main thing about a linked smart object is it connects to a different file. So when that file updates, your smart object will also update with the original file. And so as we look through these look tempting, but the difference is this one. Smart objects are automatically updated if the source file is changed. So we'll go ahead and select that. And we'll click next. Task 11 tells us to update the metadata on the file so that the displayed author is Craig Stronin. To do that, we want to go to the File tab here at the top. We want to go to File Info. And in the basic section, right here we have author. We want to go ahead and type in Craig Stronin. We'll click OK. And we'll click Next. Task 12 asks us which of the following is not a phase involved in the project plan. For this, we want to go ahead and select Budget Discussion. The other three are part of it, and we'll click Next. Task 13 wants us to create a new layer group named Icons, and then we're going to move both of the icon layers into that group, and it tells us it's 10 icon layer and tree icon layer. So let's go ahead and open up our layers. We're going to go ahead and create a new group. It tells us to call this Icons with an S. We'll hit Enter to set our text. And then what we want to do is just go ahead and select each of these layers and drag them into the Icons folder. And if I twirl this back, notice they disappear. We're going to click Next. Task 14 wants us to go ahead and select the wildlife text. And what it wants us to do is to change the color of the text to light blue from the tree icon. To do that, what I'm going to do is select the text tool. And then I'm going to go ahead and select wildlife. From here at the top, I'm going to go ahead and click this color. And it gives me the eyedropper tool, which I'm going to go ahead and use that to suck up the color from the tree icon. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK. I'm going to go ahead and just select off that text. And I'm going to select Next. Task 15 wants us to change the document color mode to CMYK so it can be printed. It tells us don't merge the layers. To do that, what we want to do is go to the Image tab here at the top. We want to go to Mode and then select CMYK color. It says don't merge, so we'll go ahead and select that. And then we'll click OK. And we'll click Next. Task 16 wants us to use the lasso tool and the content aware fill command to remove the person from the cliff on the background layer. So let's go ahead and select our lasso tool. We'll go ahead and get close and just make a selection around this person. We'll connect it back. From here, now that we've made that selection, we want to go to the Edit tab at the top. We'll select Fill. The contents, we want to select Content Aware, and we'll click OK. And now that that person's gone, we can select Next. Task 17 wants us to lock the logo layer so it cannot be moved or edited. To do that, we're on the Layers panel. We're going to go ahead and select Logo. And then what we want to do is select this lock button. And now that can't be edited or moved. We'll go ahead and click Next. Task 18 wants us to go ahead and apply a non-destructive hue adjustment for the background layer. So with that background layer selected, what I want to do is go to the Create New Fill or Adjustment layer. From here, we want to go ahead and select Hue and Saturation. And for our hue, we want to go ahead and type in 95. We'll hit Enter. And we'll go ahead and click Next. Task 19 wants us to go ahead and export the logo layer as a PNG file. And it gives us the name of the file as Apple Logo. So let's go to our Layers panel. We'll go ahead and select the logo layer. I'm going to go ahead and right click on it. You could do Quick Export as PNG, or we'll click Export As. We'll go ahead and leave this as PNG. We'll click Export All. And in the GMetrix Templates folder, we'll go ahead and type in the file name of Apple Logo, capital A, capital L, and we'll click Save. And we'll go ahead and click Next. Task 20 wants us to go ahead and copy the layer style from the 10 icon layer to the tree icon layer. To do that, what I want to do is go ahead and select the 10 icon and right click on it. From here, we're going to go ahead and select Copy Layer Style. Now we're going to click on the tree icon layer, and what I'm going to do from here is right click on it and click Paste Layer Style. I went ahead and copied those. We'll go ahead and click Next. Task 21 wants us to load a selection so that after we load the selection, we can apply a non-destructive layer mask that reveals the background grass layer. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and select the bird layer. I'm going to go to the Select tab here at the top. I'm going to select Load Selection. From here, I want to go ahead and select Bird in the channel section. We'll click OK. From here, I'm going to go ahead and select Mask. And notice it went ahead and revealed the background grass layer. We'll go ahead and click Next. Task 22 wants us to flip the mountains image horizontally. We'll go ahead and select our mountains layer. We're going to go to the Edit tab here at the top. We're going to go over to Transform. And what we want to do is select Flip Horizontally. We'll go ahead and click next. Task 23 says, it is important to consider copyright anytime you work on a project. Which of the following correctly describes copyright? The answer to this is going to be the exclusive right to copy, distribute, and profit from a work. All other answers are wrong. We'll go ahead and click next. Task 24 wants us to make a vertical and a horizontal guide. The first thing I want to do is to change my guides to pixels. To do that, what we want to do is go to Edit, Preferences, Units and Rulers. We'll go ahead and change it from inches to pixels, and we'll click OK. Now what I want to do is go to the View tab here at the top, select New Guide. The first one listed is vertical 550 pixels. So I'll keep vertical selected. I'll go ahead and type in 550 and I'll click OK. And notice that guide appeared. Let's go ahead and add our horizontal guide now. We'll go back to View, New Guide. We'll change the orientation to horizontal and we'll type in 450 pixels. We'll click OK. And we'll click Next. Task 25 asks us to go ahead and create a new document using the Web Medium Document preset. It tells us to change the orientation to portrait and name the document website, and tells us to accept all other defaults. We'll go ahead and click File, New. We're going to go ahead and click Web Medium. It tells us to change this to portrait, so we'll change this in orientation. And we'll go ahead and type the document name website. Click Create. And we'll click Next. Task 26 wants us to change our Photoshop properties to automatically save recovery information every 15 minutes. To do that, we want to go to the Edit tab here at the top. We'll go to Preferences, File Handling. We'll go ahead and check this box, automatically save recovery information and we'll change this from 5 to 15, and we'll click OK. We'll go ahead and click Next. Task 27 wants us to look at the tracking on the natural beauty text layer. And what we're going to do is copy the same tracking to the Yellowstone National Park. To do that, I'm going to go ahead and select the type tool. I'm going to go ahead and select natural beauty here. And then from here, what I want to do is go to the character section and notice that my tracking here is set at 10. We're going to go ahead and apply the same tracking to the Yellowstone National Park. Let's go ahead and select that text now. We'll change this from -150 to 10. I'm going to go ahead and hit Enter on my keyboard to set that. And I'm going to go ahead and click off that. We'll click Next. Task 28 wants us to add a drop shadow effect to the text Natural Beauty. And then it goes ahead and gives us a few specifications for that. Let's go ahead and go to the Layers panel. And I'm going to go ahead and select the layer Natural Beauty. From here, what I want to do is go to the Add a Layer Style. I'm going to go ahead and click that. And what I want to select is Drop Shadow. I'm going to change the angle to 45 degrees. And I'm going to change the distance to 6. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And I'm going to click Next. Task 29 wants us to create a new document made for 1080p video that has a transparent background. Let's go ahead and click File, New. We'll go to Film and Video. It tells us HDV, not HDTV, so we'll select that. The background content, it tells us that it needs to be transparent, so we'll change that from white. And we'll scroll down to transparent. And it tells us to call this Project 1. We'll click Create. And we'll click Next. Task 30 wants us to select the layer that's Adventure logo. And what we're going to do is change the layer opacity to 30%. So we'll click in the opacity and we'll change that to 30%. And it tells us to change the blending mode to multiply. So we'll change it from normal to multiply. We'll click Next. Task 31 wants us to hide all of the layers except for the grass layer. To do that, we're on the Layers panel. What we're going to do is just click the eyeball next to the top two layers, so only the grass layer is visible. We'll click Next. Task 32 wants us to go ahead and apply a non-destructive filter to the background image. So we'll go ahead and select that background image. And what we're going to do is apply the black and white with a preset of maximum white. To do that, we're going to go to create a new fill or adjustment layer. We'll select black and white. Our preset will change to maximum white, and we'll select next. Task 33 wants us to edit the text in this image so that the word renovation is on the next line, and then we're going to go ahead and make some changes to it. Let's go ahead and select our text tool so that we can click in here. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter to drop it to the next line. Now this is where it can be a little tricky. It wants you to actually select all of the text here before we make any changes to the font style or the alignment or the size. So with both lines selected, I'm going to go ahead and type in Times New Roman. We'll select regular. We'll center this, and we're going to change it to 48 point. Hit enter. We'll go ahead and click off that text, and we'll select next. Task 34 asks, which option is not a factor when determining which kind of images to include in your project for a target audience? We're looking for a target audience. Age of the audience is going to be important. Our own stylistic preferences is not going to be important. So we'll select that. The desired goals of the client is going to be important in the purpose of the project or content. So our answer here is your own stylistic preference. We'll go ahead and click next. Task 35 wants us to add a registered trademark symbol to the right of our adventure logo. To do that, what we want to do is to click on the rectangle tool to select custom shape tool. And then up here at the top, what we want to do is click this drop down and scroll until we see the R circle. And it doesn't tell us any type of dimension, so we just want to click and drag. And we'll click off of it, and we'll select next. Task 36 says, during the process of interacting with your client, which of the following would be deliverables you would need to provide as you work through the project? And it tells us that we need to choose two. Some deliverables that we would need would be design comps and project specifications. We'll go ahead and click next. Task 37 says, in the beginning of the visual design process, it's important to work closely with your client. Which of the following methods is a good way to quickly explore creative options and ensure you are creating something the client is happy with? For this, we need to look at this question beginning of the visual design process, because that's going to eliminate finalized concepts, and then it's going to eliminate working exclusively in a traditional format and digital format, because we're going to want to be flexible so that our client is happy. So what we're looking for here is making rough sketches. We'll go ahead and click next. Task 38 says, from the following choices, select the best definition of typography. The best definition out of all of these is the art and design of arranging type when choosing a font style, and color. We'll click next. Task 39 says, which of the following are best practices that should be done in Photoshop before placing the images in InDesign? It tells us to choose two. As I look through this list, I know flatten layers is not it. If you plan on placing text on the images, do this in Photoshop. I don't believe that's it. So let's look at these other two. Use the proof colors command to view a soft proof to see a more accurate preview of the final printed version. Yeah, that sounds like a great answer. And then making initial edits in RGB mode, then convert your image to CMYK mode and make any additional color and tonal adjustments. That's also a good selection. So we'll choose that and we'll click next. Task 40 says, you are getting dozens of images ready to be published on the web, and you need to make sure that they are in the correct color mode and the correct size while still maintaining the same ratio. Recording in action will be the quickest way to make changes to all of the images. Which of the following steps should you include in your action? It tells us to go ahead and choose two. So some things to note is that we're publishing this to the web, and as I'm looking through this list, I can quickly eliminate CMYK. And I can also eliminate using 300 DPI because you use RGB on the web. And when you upload images, you should use 72 DPI. So we'll go ahead and select constrain image portions when exporting. We'll click next.